So welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 from Power Platform weekly community call with Microsoft speakers. It is April 2nd, not April 1st, which was yesterday. So no more jokes. This is a super official, let's not smile at all call. No, it's not. But this is my name is Juvonen. I'm a principal product manager in the Microsoft 365 platform areas. And I'll be a host today. And today we'll have great show again, multiple demos, all of that stuff. We'll do a together mode picture together, talk about all of the assets which are available for you to take advantage. Now, today, the real stars will be Paolo, Akanksha Rakesh Abi, Nicole Woon, and Brian Levy, if I understood correctly. We had a bit of a discussion with Nicole last night, and I was off, but still, I think I have the names now correct. Hopefully, we'll figure that one out as we go to the last demo of today. But Paolo is going to start today with the demo section on quarter past, roughly. Now, we always do cover all of the different assets which are available for you to take advantage. We do this intentionally because there's always new people within this course, and we need to make sure that everybody is aware of all of these awesome URLs. Now, David already put the main URL in the chat, which is akms/community/home, from where you can find all of the different assets, all of the different things, and you can find more details from there. The key location potentially to remember here is the YouTube channel, because if you are in a community call, you might be wondering, can I see recordings of old community calls? And the answer is absolutely, all getting published in YouTube within 24 hours after the call. Now, mentioning about those community calls, we have quite a few of them. You're probably aware of some of them because you are in a call. This is the Tuesday 8 a.m. Pacific time community call, which is happening every single Tuesday except for a summer break within the Northern Hemisphere. Now, on top of that, we'll have the Power Platform monthly community call, Office Admin monthly community call, and then our 7 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday series, which is either Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call with community demos, or the Viva Connection and SharePoint Framework, typically community demos as well. So that's happening 7 a.m. Pacific time on every single Thursday, either one of those calls, which is every single week thing because they're bi-weekly. Hopefully that makes kind of sense. And now after the daylight saving mess, Europe has moved into the same daylight saving mode as the US, which means that the calls are aligning on 7 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday. Now, you can download all of the recurrent invites from community/calls, from where if you download the invite, it will be in your Outlook. It will be aligning on the time zones automatically, so don't need to worry about summertime daylight savings and all of that stuff. And all of the agendas and details are at community meetup URL. Cool. For a lot of those calls, we do welcome community members to present. This is a really important piece for us as a Microsoft, but also more important for us as a community to see what people are actually building. So the best way we learn is by getting inspiration and ideas from other people on what they are building using Power Platform or Microsoft 365 or whatever Microsoft Cloud technologies. So you can sign up by using AKMS for community/request/demo, and that's the form. You fill it up, we'll reach out to you and get you scheduled on the call. Right now, our queue is pretty long already, so we're kind of booking now 1.5 months forward, which is a positive challenge for us as well. But we always welcome people to sign up, and we'll get the invites for you and you a spot in the calendar. We do have our Microsoft 365 developer program, which is unfortunately partly in pause right now. It is intended to come back later this year. Right now, you cannot sign up for that program. You can get a free E5 tenant if you have a Visual Studio subscription. Now, the simplest alternative right now for that particular option is to get a single tenant account, one account tenant, which is technically $6 per month. We do understand that that's not an optimal situation, and that's why there's a lot of investigations how we can get the developer program back online for everybody to get a free or a cheap tenant, so even cheaper tenant to be available. Now, again, the single tenant account is $6 per month minimum, which is not a massive amount of money, but it would be nice if we can actually provide you a free tenant. Unfortunately, malicious and bad people started using this model and this program in their benefit, and then we needed to shut down that for a while, and not an optimal situation. There's a lot of developer module material available for you in the learn.microsoft.com. Haven't checked the module numbers for a while, but I should check them out. They're much bigger than those for now. Now, we also have different Microsoft 365 Power Platform shows available. So the BMP Weekly is where yours truly and Waldeck Mastercards are always talking with somebody from Microsoft or from MVPs on the latest and what's happening, and including news. And then we have the wonderful show with Caruana and Heather by Mondays at Microsoft, happening bi-weekly on Mondays at 8 a.m. Pacific time. The Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast has been on a pause. We keep on hearing rumors that it might be back, might not come back, might come back, might not come back, but it is on hold. But we don't want to stop it or drop it from the slide, at least yet, until we get a final conclusion what's happening there. Now, related on community contributions, all of the awesome stuff what everybody is doing, we are aggregating all of the samples to a single location. So you don't have to go to a GitHub and organizations and a repo starting to find the relevant sample for you. You'll actually go to the AKMS community samples. You can find all of the samples from Microsoft and from community from a one centralized location. We actually have more than 1,900 samples. I forgot about updating that number because we checked it right before this call, which is awesome. I think it's 1,910 samples right now, and it is more calculating or increased more and more all the time. And as you can see, there we go. Now it's 1,909, and that's the magic of live presentation, which is really, really cool. Now, as to find the relevant sample for you, might be wondering, and okay, now I'm in a GitHub. How do I get started? Oh my God, I don't know what to do. LA and David Warner, what is the way we're helping our community to get started?
Well, for the magic of Copilot, immediately listening to your words and updating the slide. It wasn't me, I swear. Amazing, 1909 plus. That's why we did 1909, right? Because it's plus 1990. Anyways, all right, everybody. Math is hard, right? All right, everybody. Yes. So as Vesa mentioned, I am back from medical leave and excited. We're getting things kicked off. You'll notice that our session list has shrunk a little bit. We're trying to refocus on the things that people need the most, that we've heard that they want the most, which is getting involved from the first time, contributing for the first time. GitHub is frustrating and confusing. So we are bringing back the office hours again, or getting them set up. We're bringing back the live sessions. We got recordings. Bear with us as I get all this stuff ramped back up as I get back, but it is not going away. We are here to support you because we love all the work that you're doing in the community and want to highlight it and recognize it. So keep an eye out for ak.ms/sharing is caring. Watch out on Twitter, LinkedIn. We will absolutely post there as well. And of course, once you do contribute, I mentioned we want to recognize it. What is alive and well and running successfully is our recognition program. That is an official program accredited with and powered by Credly. So you get those badges that can be associated to LinkedIn, shared on Twitter, put on the refrigerator. Todd can call his mom offline and tell her all about it. So we got badges, we got badgers for Natalie. Everybody's getting involved. It is absolutely free. It is not dying. We just renewed with Credly, so we are excited to bring lots of new opportunities and be on the lookout for those emails. More badges coming out this week. ak.ms/community/recognition. Vesa, back to you in the Finland studios.
Excellent. Thank you, LA. Awesome worldwide community coordination. Thank you for that one. Now, let's then recap again the upcoming events. Pretty soon in end of April, we'll have the Microsoft 365 community conference coming up. m365conf.com is the URL. Go check out. There's more and more speakers. There's a lot of CVPs and presidents from Microsoft coming up, and there are a lot of the greatest and latest information, announcement, and features are going to happen actually in here, which is really, really cool to see. Oh, awesome sessions and presenters. We also have workshops available for you to get started on the Microsoft 365 for Power Platform areas, which is awesome. Now, on top of this, we'll have the European Collaboration Summit coming up in 14 and 16 May 2024. So that's in Wiesbaden, Germany. Wiesbaden is right next to Frankfurt. Apparently, it's closer to Frankfurt Airport than the Frankfurt itself. So it's a really, really close and centralized location in Europe, really easy to fly into. 2,500 sold tickets already for this year, so it's actually going to be probably sold out pretty soon. Now, on top of that, we'll have the TechCon 365 in Seattle, DC, and Dallas coming up pretty soon, starting from Seattle in June 3rd, which is awesome. And then we have the Microsoft Power Platform Conference coming up in MTM in mid-September. Really, really awesome event. On top of these primary events, I wouldn't say primary events, on top of these bigger events, we have a lot of a bit smaller community coordinated events. You can find all of the different events at communitydays.org. For some of these events are in person, some of them are hybrid or remote. Some of them might have a small payment in them, but it's really the easiest way to catch up on what's happening with the community and get to know other people within a community as well. Networking, as we say. On top of that, some news. I think we have Gary on the call to really recap on what is the DevProxy and Microsoft Learn focus group all about.
We do. Thanks, Vesa. Yep. So we are asking for your help. If you are a developer and you want to help us basically try and change the way that you learn Microsoft 365 development through Microsoft Learn, we would like you to join us if you would like to spare 30 minutes of your time to come and complete a Learn module and just give us some feedback. We've already run some sessions last week. Super valuable. Thank you to everyone who joined and shared their feedback. And we are running some more sessions this Thursday. So we have 2 sessions, 9 a.m. or 4 p.m. That is GMT. If this interests you and you'd like to help us out, go to aka.ms/devproxy/mslearn-group to sign up, and we would love to speak to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Gary, for that one. And one other event which we wanted to agree to promote is the Global Copilot Summit, which is ongoing from 6th of April, so starting pretty soon. Next week, is it next week? It's pretty close to next week. Is it next week? 6th of April. Now I need to double check. If today is 2nd, then 6th is actually Saturday. From April and going all the way until 18th of May 2024, happening in Redmond, San Francisco, Toronto, New York, Sao Paulo, and so on. So there's a lot of locations happening in here. The challenge what I have with this slide, which I just realized that there's no URL for you to get more details. We'll get that one shared in the chat. We do apologize on the small thing. We'll get that small mistake updated within the next session. Now, on top of that, quick recap on the news. I'm not going to even cover all of the news. So Microsoft has a weird way of, in 1 week we have a lot of news, in 1 week we don't have anything. And this was one of those weeks where we have massive amount of new news across the different channels. David has pasted in all of the links and news articles which are available in the chat if you're interested in capturing what is the latest across Microsoft 365 Power Platform. A lot of awesome announcements across the board. So I'm not going to deep dive there. Now, before we go to the actual stars of today, starting from Paolo, let's do a quick picture time. So those who are willing, enable the camera. I will drag and drop the camera and feed on my screen. And you are pixel perfect, and that means that I'm not going to enable my camera. Even with the fiber, I'm probably going to mess it up. So let's wait for a while. We have 50 seats in the room, and I can see a cat. Todd is on the back row. You'll be our example, right? There we go. Hands up. Yeah, that's good. Not yet. No rush yet. There's Rachel. Cats are always good. Awesome. Stephanie in the middle. David knows how this works. A few more seats in the room. I will start my Camtasia recorder here in a second, and we'll capture a GIF animation out of this and share it in the social media right after the call. Are we maxed out? Are we maxed out? I guess we're starting to be a max out. So let me actually clip and start the recording. So let's do some hand waving, everybody. 3, 2, 1, and action. And here we go. Awesome excitement in the room. Excellent. Yes. Brilliant. Awesome to see the smiling faces. Thank you for that one. And then let's actually go to the real stars of the day. We will share a GIF animation in the social media based on that recording. Now, we'll start today with Paolo Pialorsi, who's going to talk about the Copilot Studio. Then we go to the SharePoint Embedded, and then Nicole Woon and Brian Levy is going to talk about SharePoint Web UI Kit after that. But Paolo, I think you are ready to go, unless I'm mistaken.
Yes,
Paolo?
I am. I hope you can see my screen and hear my voice, right?
Yes,
okay,
both are fine. Take it away.
Perfect. So welcome everyone to this demo about creating Copilot for Microsoft 365 plugins with Copilot Studio. What are we going to see today is the following. So let me set a bit of context like usual. We already saw previous episodes, because this is a recurring demo nowadays, that we can extend Microsoft Copilot with Microsoft Copilot Studio, and we can create a custom plugin to extend the experience of users while consuming Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. What we are going to see today is that we can use Copilot Studio or MCS, Microsoft Copilot Studio, as a low-code or no-code tool to create plugins for. And specifically, we can create prompt plugins, conversational plugins, connector plugins, and Power Automate plugins. These are the flavors that we have nowadays. We have seen 1 week ago or so with Daniel Laskavitz the prompt plugins, and today we're going to see how to create a conversational plugin. Whenever we have a plugin, it means that when we are in the chat, in the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, we can click on a small button that we have in the lower right corner, and I will show you in a live demo, and we can activate a bunch of custom plugins to improve the content and the quality of the response that we will get back from Copilot. When we want to do that using Copilot Studio as the tool to create those plugins, we have to follow these steps. So first of all, we need to enable the Copilot Studio integrated app in our environment. So we need to go in the admin UI of Microsoft 365 under settings, integrated apps, and available apps. And there we need to look for the Copilot Studio application, as I will show you shortly. Once we have enabled the Copilot Studio application, we can use 2 different techniques nowadays to create a conversational plugin with Copilot Studio. One is to create a new custom Copilot and go into the section related to Copilot extensibility and create a conversational plugin from there, and then we can publish it. Or another option is to use the new extended under preview interface that we still have in Copilot Studio. I will show you both. And then we can enable the plugin in Copilot for Microsoft 365 and just have a chat with the Copilot, providing prompts and getting back answers, which will be enriched with content that will come out from the custom plugin that we created. And eventually, if you want, you can also enable the developer mode, as I will show you, to have a better understanding of what's going on under the cover of the Copilot for Microsoft 365 when there is one or more plugins enabled in your chat. So that said, let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how you can do that step by step. And first of all, I will start showing you the plugin in action so that we can be all on the same page about what we are going to achieve. So here I am in the Copilot for Microsoft 365 chat UI. And in this area, as I was telling you, I can enable the plugins that I have configured in my environment. In order to being able to do that, I just need to click here and see what the plugins are. And specifically for the plugins created with Copilot Studio, you will find them under this section if you have more than one of them. And here I have 2 custom plugins that I created with my Copilot Studio. As you can see here, I can also enable different flavors of plugins, not only those created with the Copilot Studio. In order to have Copilot Studio right here, I need to have in the admin UI of my tenant, let me see if I can enable it. Oops. Let me do this. Sorry. Okay, gotcha. We go under the admin center of Microsoft 365 under settings, integrated apps. And here under the available apps, we can find the Copilot Studio, and we have to select this application and we have to deploy it in our tenant. Of course, I've already done it, so it is already deployed in my tenant. And that's why I'm able to see this item right here in the UI. Now that I have at least a couple of plugins enabled in my Copilot, I can start playing with it, providing prompts. And for the sake of showing you an example, I decided to create 2 different plugins. One which will rely on the content of the Microsoft 365 conference website, so I can ask questions to Copilot and I can get back answers about what's available in the website of the conference, as well as I created another plugin which will simply rely on the official online documentation under learnmicrosoft.com about Copilot Studio itself. And that's why I have in my list of plugins the M365 Conf and the MCS Docs ones. Okay, so let's say that I want to ask something to Copilot about the conference. And let's see what we can do. For example, I can say that I want to know where it will be, the Microsoft 365 conference in 2024. I will send this prompt to Copilot. It will work to gather all of the information and put all of them together. And I already enabled the developer mode in my context so that you can see what's going on under the cover as soon as it will be available with an answer. Now it is looking for the location, and it should be able to give me an answer pretty soon. Okay, almost. But okay, so we have seen that I'm getting back an answer, which is not what I was looking for, but doesn't matter. It is most likely an issue related to the retrieval of information from the website. But at least we can still see that. However, if you want to register to the conference, you can use the following link, which is an information that I'm actually providing through my custom plugin that I created in Copilot Studio. And I also can see, using the developer mode, what's going on under the cover. So for example, here, when trying to consume my custom plugin, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 realized that there were 3 different plugins configured in my environment right now. And it was trying to match one of the functions, which was the right one for my question. And it matched the Microsoft 365 conference plugin and its function. And then it was able to actually query the plugin, but it didn't get back the whole answer, but just a partial answer. Why am I telling you a partial answer? Because if I will go to Copilot Studio, we can see that right here, under Copilot, I created an M365 Conf Copilot, which is one of the techniques you can use to create a conversational plugin. And if you go into the definition of this custom Copilot and you expand the Extend Microsoft Copilot Preview section, and again, remember, it is under preview, so every now and then it might not work. So it is reality of life. They are still working on it, okay? If we go under conversational plugins, we can see that I have one conversational plugin defined right here. If I click on it, we can see that in this conversational plugin, first of all, I have a clear or hopefully clear definition of what the plugin will provide to Copilot. This is text that will be processed by natural language processing by Copilot so that it will be able to understand when it is the right point in time to use my plugin to provide an answer or not. So based on the description that I provide, Copilot will try to figure out if my plugin is the right one to use or not when providing an answer to the user. Then I will simply get the activity.text input, which is actually the text provided by the user when triggering this plugin, as the input for the generative answers action in Copilot Studio. And I've just configured this plugin and this conversational plugin to rely on the Microsoft 365 conference website so that it will query and search the content into that website. And no matter what, at the end of every interaction, I will always say to the user, remember to register for the conference, providing a specific URL. And that's why I was able to see in the answer, even if it was not actually able to properly query the website in this point in time, still was able to tell me, to tell the user that the registration should be done using this URL. So now let me try to use a different plugin that I created, the one for the Copilot Studio documentation, for example. So let me run another query like, what is Microsoft Copilot Studio? Really trivial question. Now it will work still like before, evaluating all of the configured and enabled plugins, and will then identify the right one to use to give me a proper answer. So working on it again, hopefully this time we will get a better answer. And okay, now we are getting a better answer. Okay, wonderful. It is still working on it. Now we can see this is the answer that I've got. I can see that I have references to the content provided by the Copilot plugin that I created. And again, using the developer mode, I can see that now here is the list of enabled plugins, and the MCS docs was identified. This is the function that was used, and the response was successful. So again, as before, we can see the behind the scenes logic that Copilot is using to identify and use the right Copilot plugin built with Copilot Studio. How did I create this other conversational plugin? I decided to use the new technique that I'm I'm going to show you right now, which is the one that allows you to go under the Extend, still in preview, Extend section. And from here, you can add Power Platform components, and you can choose to create, for example, a component of type conversation. You select this item, you provide a name. Now, I'm just going to create a fake one, so I don't care about the name. Let me create it. It will take a while to build actually under the cover the same engine as before, but we will have an interface which will be fully focused on creating a conversational plugin. So, and this animation is always amazing, so worth watching, but it should be ready in a matter of few seconds from now. And then we will be ready to create new topics, and here we are. So first of all, we can provide in this topic section as many as conversational plugins as we like. So we can click on Add Conversational Plugin. And again, we will have the trigger. Here we need to provide a proper description of what we are going to provide as a service. So what we are going to provide. Then we need to add an action, which can be, for example, a generative answer action, as I did before. We can use the activity text as before to get the input from the user. And we can configure the data source, which can be a public website, as before, can be SharePoint, so a SharePoint site in order to index the content of a document library, for example, or an Azure OpenAI service, or even custom data of your own. By doing that, you can rebuild exactly what I showed you before. And eventually, if you want, you can also send a message as a response included into the conversation so that we can reach the answer with a predefined message or highlighting something which is really important for us. Once you are done, you can save and publish your custom plugin. Again, let me show you the one that I created for real. So let me leave this UI and let me show you the Copilot Studio docs that I created. And in this one, again, under the topics section, I created the MCS docs, which is configured as I was showing you before. So there is a description. We have the data source for the generative answer, which is the URL of the official documentation of Microsoft Copilot Studio. And I also want to remind to the user that they need to keep into account that they need to have proper licensing to use Copilot Studio. And that's what I'm doing right here. I publish my plugin, and it will become available in the UI of Copilot for Microsoft 365. One last interesting thing that I want to share with you is that if you go under the settings section and you go into the advanced panel of the settings, you can also configure application insights on Azure to keep track of the usage and of what's going on with your custom plugins. And by doing that, you can collect information in application insights about all of the steps that are happening under the cover of your custom plugin, which is, in my opinion, really, really interesting for learning purposes and for debugging purposes. So here, for example, I can see the steps behind the scene of an interaction that I had this morning. And here I can see that my request was started, my topic was started. I can see that I have the generative answer triggering, where here I can see the question that was provided, the prompt that was provided by the user. I can see the answer that I've got from the generative answer component, but I can also see, for example, here that I'm sending back the response to Copilot together with an additional message, which is the one about keeping into account the licensing. So it is a really interesting option for easily and quickly building plugins for Copilot in Microsoft 365 without basically writing any real line of code, but just configuring the topic in Copilot Studio. And there are also really useful tools to help you debug, whether using application insights or using the developer mode to debug what's going on and to figure out how Copilot is handling your custom plugins. So let me switch briefly back to the slide deck just to share with you a couple of links, which I'm going to send in the chat as well. And that said, I think that's all for me. And back to you, Vesa. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Paolo. And that one, really, really cool to see those features and capabilities. And like Paolo said, this is a lot of the stuff is still in preview, but it's moving along and more features are coming up all the time within the spring as well. So it's great to see. Some of the licensing questions in this chat I was considering answering, but there's a lot of nuances related on those things because some of the features are still in preview, which do not necessarily require a license and all of that. But you will need to have a license or trial for the Copilot Studios to start doing things, and then the final licensing model will get for sure clarified a bit later. So unless we have more specific answers in there, but still, it's some of the questions related on licensing is always complicated. Now we cannot take questions at this moment of a time because we do have a next demo starting up, and so many people in this call that we would answer going through questions for the whole evening. But I think Abi is at least in the call, and I think Akanksha is joining. Yes, there you are.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. We can see the screen. Audio was good. Take it away.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep, all good.
Awesome.
All good.
Thank you. That'll be a hard act to follow, but we'll try. Hello, everyone. My name is Akanksha, and I have with me Abi Suresh. We are the product managers at Microsoft, and today is another installment in the series that we are doing to introduce SharePoint Embedded that is currently in public preview. So in this talk, we are going to go a little bit into how administration works for SharePoint Embedded, what are the administrative security and compliance tools that we provide for our SharePoint Embedded customers, and who is the admin persona that we are talking about. I will go through some of the concepts and do a demo on the administrative capabilities, and then Abi will demo the security and compliance capabilities on SharePoint Embedded. With that, let me just go through. If you haven't yet come across SharePoint Embedded, I'm just going to do a quick recap. SharePoint Embedded is an API-only headless version of SharePoint for your custom applications. SharePoint Embedded creates a dedicated partition within your M365 tenant to store files and documents. And because it is in the M365 tenant, you get a lot of the features and capabilities that come with M365, such as content management, security and compliance, file experiences in your app. So everything is Content AI ready and is all powered by Microsoft Graph API. So let me quickly take you through the persona that we are specifically talking about here. We will start with a tenant where the development of the SharePoint Embedded application happens. This tenant is the developer tenant, and there are two Uber personas here, the developer admin who sets up the tenant, who sets up billing profile maybe, and the developers who are creating the SharePoint Embedded application. Once this application is ready to be registered, it is registered in the consuming tenant. Here also there are two Uber personas, consuming tenant admin who registers and manages the application, and then the users of the tenant who are creating containers and storing content in the application. In this talk, we will zoom into the consuming tenant admin on the consuming tenant and the capabilities that we provide to this consuming tenant admin to make sure that the data in the tenant follows organization, security, compliance, and regulatory requirements of the tenant. So now who is playing the role of a consuming tenant admin? For SharePoint Embedded, we have added a new role known as the SharePoint Embedded Administrator, who will be able to manage all SharePoint Embedded containers. This role is currently available in Entra and M365 Admin Center. Customers who want to keep SharePoint Embedded application management separate than SharePoint can assign this role to a user. Tenants who do not want to keep this management separate than SharePoint, they can assign both SharePoint Embedded admin role and SharePoint admin and SharePoint Embedded admin role to the same user, and the same user will be able to manage everything. As usual, global admins can manage containers just like they can manage sites, so there's no changes there. I will not go through the whole list, but here are all the things that a SharePoint embedded admin or a global admin can manage. Now, because the SharePoint embedded application resides within the M365 tenancy, as I mentioned, that all the capabilities that are available for SharePoint and OneDrive will also extend for SharePoint embedded application. Some of the things that you'll see admin can manage at a tenant level, like audit logs, retention policies, conditional access policies will work for SharePoint embedded applications as well that are in the same tenant. Just like sites, we also provide capability to manage containers, like viewing containers, adding labels to a containers, deleting containers, restoring containers. I'm sure sounds very familiar to sites. So we wanted to keep the experience very similar for containers as we have for sites. So how is an admin going to manage the containers? So we provide 3 different tools. The first one is our old friend PowerShell. This is the first tool that is already available in production, and we provide commands very similar to SharePoint sites. These commands will enable admins to administer containers created in their tenant, and I will demo some of these commandlets just after this slide. The second tool we provide is the SharePoint admin site, where admins can also see containers. Just like they see active sites and deleted sites, they'll be able to see active containers and deleted containers. And finally, for customers who are interested in building their own administration tool, we provide admin graph APIs to our customers. And this will be available in the next 3 to 4 months as well. So let's dive quickly into the demo of all the commandlets for administration that we have. So here I am logged in as a, Here I am logged in as a global admin and connected to this to the site where my SharePoint embedded application is. Sorry, the tenant where my SharePoint embedded application is. Now, as an admin, if I want to see all the SharePoint embedded applications that are registered in my tenant, they can simply do a get SPO application commandlet, and this will list out the 2 applications that are in my tenant, the Contoso and Northwind Traders. These are specifically SharePoint embedded applications. Now from here, if I want to see all the containers that are created in one of my application, as an admin, I can again do get SPO container, add the application ID that I'm interested in. And with this list will give all the containers that are created in my tenant. Now, a tenant may have a lot more containers than what I am showing here, but an admin can just see all the list. Now, they can do various things here. For example, if they want to see all the containers that have no owners, because there is some compliance guidelines that they have to follow. In that case, they can just run a sort object on the containers and they'll just see all the containers with 0 owner counts on top, and they can take action on that. Now, if they want to see a detail of a specific container, they can go into get SPO container, identity, and take any container. I'll take this container since it doesn't have a sensitivity label, and as an admin, I may be interested to see the details of this container. So this is where they will see all the information like what is the storage of the container, the label of the container, who are the owners, managers, readers, writer on the container, when was it created, and various different policies like external sharing policies on the container. This commandlet will also show the site URL of the container, and this is what the admin can take and further go into, say, tools like Purview and make sure that right compliance policies are added through it with the help of this site URL. Now, since this container did not have a sensitivity label, I will go ahead and add a sensitivity label using a set SPO container commandlet. Now you will notice that the commandlets are very similar to site, just like get SPO site and get set SPO site. We have set SPO container and get SPO container. So with this identity, I will just go ahead and add the sensitivity label to this. I'll just use the common one used here because my organization may have a policy that every container should have a sensitivity label. With this, I will again check the site details and you will see that the sensitivity label is already added to this container and the container will follow all the rules of the label that was added. Similarly, just an example, another example of how admin can delete a container. Let's say we have a container that an admin does not want in the tenant because it does not follow the guidelines. This one does not have sensitivity label. In that case, I can just do a remove SPO container and it will ask me for a confirmation. And I can see the deleted container using get SPO deleted container. So here it is. I had deleted the storage capacity container because it did not follow the org guideline. Similarly, there are many more PowerShell commandlets that are already available. For example, you can recover a container. You can permanently delete a container. We are also adding capabilities to add users to a container. So very similar to sites, but these capabilities are already available in production. So from here, Abby will take you through how they can use this information to add more security and compliance details to a container. Abby, go ahead.
Thank you, Akanksha. So we are going to be switching gears now and talking about security and compliance features that are supported today for content that resides in SharePoint embedded containers. So we, as Akanksha mentioned, we are trying to achieve parity between what is already existing in SharePoint online content and the content that's going to reside on SharePoint embedded. So we support like most of the compliance and security features that you're already familiar with, like audit, e-discovery, DLP, DLM, sensitivity labels at the file level, at the container level, block download policies, conditional access policies at the container levels. We are working on enabling sophisticated security policies such as RAG, information barrier, domain restriction, and so many, many more. And they should be supported within the next couple of months. So super exciting. And the main takeaway that I want everybody to take, to understand from this demo is that most of the security and compliance features that you're using today on content that resides in SharePoint Online will be at parity with the content that resides in SharePoint Embedded. So we are going to be looking at the demos that Akanksha is showing on screen from the lens of a compliance manager. So we are logged in as a compliance manager. We are in the M365 Purview portal, and I'm just trying to replicate a real life scenario wherein a compliance manager may want to look at all the audit events that were performed by a specific user on all file activities within a specific date and time range. So I'm looking at all the activities such as like accessing a file, uploading it, deleting it, modifying it, so on and so forth for a specific user. So we're just going to look at this from the lens of a compliance admin for all content that was touched by this particular user. And you will notice that in the audit results that we are seeing, you will find all the key value pairs that are typically found for content that resides in SharePoint Online. We've also taken the liberty to add 3 extra key value pairs, such as container ID, container type ID, and container instance ID. So you will see all of the individual key value pairs that you're already used to seeing. So if you're running a script of some sorts, it'll continue to work on content that resides in SharePoint Embedded. You will also have the 3 extra container-related information that I was just talking about earlier. You can also get the container site URL from here. You can also download and export the CSV format of the audit log so that you can look at the audit log in more nuanced detail. You can export it. You can filter it based on like your business needs. So Akanksha, keeping in mind the time, can we move on to the next demo, please? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so So now we are going to be looking, sorry, the next one, please.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Okay, there we go. So the second demo is for e-discovery search. So in this page, we are opening up a Word document that actually resides on a SharePoint embedded container. We are going to be performing an e-discovery search for all documents, for all content that contains the keyword red fox that we see on screen. So again, I'm a compliance admin. I go click on e-discovery standard to make sure there are no licensing issues, etc. So this is going to be a standard e-discovery search. And in here, if I just click on all SharePoint sites, this is going to ensure that it's searching for all the content that's stored in all SharePoint sites and all SharePoint embedded containers. But here I'm restricting it to just one container's URL. I just took the URL from the document because it opened up on Office Online, removed the encoding and just pasted it. If that was not available, I could have used Akanksha's like partial modules to do that. And now I'm initiating a e-discovery search for content that resides in just that one container and has the keyword red fox. And we are just gonna let the search run its course, and we'll just wait for the results to show up. As we can see, there are 2 results that are showing up. So let's just like export the e-discovery report and see what are the results, because we know for sure that we are supposed to get one of them, right? Like the brainstorming techniques document that we had opened up earlier did contain the keyword red fox. Okay. So we're just waiting for the e-discovery export to open up in our local desktop, and I'm just going to open up the results. There we go. So this is the Excel results report, and I'm just going to open up the document path so that we can see, hey, where exactly do these documents reside? What's up with the 2 results? So as we can see, the first one is as expected. It's the brainstorming techniques document that resides within the document library of the specific container that we restricted the e-discovery search to. The second one is definitely more interesting because we can see that this document resides in the preservation hole library of the same container, meaning this container was placed on a retention hole. A document named brainstorming techniques resided in that container, got deleted, and instead of being fully deleted, it got moved to the preservation hole library, meaning retention hole works out of the box on all content that is stored in SharePoint Embedded, just like how SharePoint Online supports retention. So this was something that I wanted to show. So e-discovery search basically just told us that, you know, like retention hold works out of the box. Okay, so I know I'm a little bit over time. Please bear with me. This last demo is like super interesting. So I'm logged in with the necessary credentials on Postman. I'm leveraging Microsoft Graph API that lets us download an item. And as we can see, the content on this particular SharePoint embedded container was able to get downloaded successfully. I'm going to set a block download policy on this container. Again, I'm using the container ID from Akanksha's partial that you're showing us earlier. So now that the policy is set to true, I'm again querying this download item API. And as we can see, we got a 403 forbidden error. We got the access denied messaging as well. So I want to tweak the block download policy just a little bit more. And I want to say, hey, let the block download policy still be set to true for all users, but for the container owner, allow them and exclude them from the block download policy. So that's what I'm doing here. So the policy is still enabled for everyone, but just not for the container owner. And as we can see again, we get the 200 OK, we are able to download it. So that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and feel free to post any questions that you may have on SharePoint Embedded. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Vesa, take it away.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Akanksha and Abi on that one. Really, really cool. We always have too much content. I know it's so hard to squeeze this in 15 minutes, but it's okay. Really, really cool. I think everybody got the idea on what we can do, and the fact that you have all of that compliance goodness within the documents, because they rely on inside of your customer tenant, is in your tenant. So the content is never leaving your tenant, and that's really the core superpower of SharePoint Embedded. You as a customer own the files. They are still within your corporate boundaries from a legal and compliance perspective. That's the sweet spot. Now, then we move into Nicole Woon, and I think Brian is joining her on this one. Now, word of a warning, we might go a bit long today. Let's see. So if Nicole and Brian are going to go a bit long, bear with us. We don't want them to rush because then otherwise the demo will be looking bad in the recording. But if you need to drop, anybody who's watching, it's okay. You'll get the recording from YouTube channel tomorrow. Nicole, I can see the slides. Do we have audio? And we have an audio. That's great. I think we are good to go. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am super excited to be here with you all today, and we are going to be talking about our SharePoint Web UI Kit, which is available in Figma. We'll talk all about that in this quick demo here, and it's essentially a way for you to be able to design engaging sites and pages. So if you aren't familiar with it already, I'm going to go ahead and pop a link in the chat so that you can follow along with us here. And so you know, this kit allows you to design communication and team sites for desktop, tablet, and mobile. Say that you're in the early planning stages of your intranet and you want to mock up a site that's based on business requirements in order to get buy-in from stakeholders. This kit will help you through a set of web parts, templates, style options, and detailed guidance so that you can quickly design engaging sites and pages in Figma. And if you have not heard of what Figma is, it's a subscription-based application that is the industry standard tool for web design. So when you're using this kit, think of it as another resource in your intranet lifecycle that you can use with your design team or others that are familiar with Figma. This is really useful for developing the look and feel of your site, as well as the flow of information before you build it in SharePoint itself. Our toolkit is divided into 3 parts. We have Change the Look, Templates and Page Elements, and Web Parts. The first part is going to be Change the Look, and this section includes theme assets, logo assets, header elements, navigation elements, and footer elements. These are available in different palettes and configurations based on your needs. The second section includes our templates and page elements for communication sites and for team sites. Here you can see ways to configure aspects like the page title region, mock-up collapsible sections, and just have a useful place for you to practice putting web parts onto the page and seeing how they flow. And then lastly, we have the web part section. This is going to include some of our most commonly used web parts with all of their associated configurations and makes it easy for you to edit and change any of those details. As a note, the items with green dots next to them are those from our most recent version release, and those are going to be available in the Figma Community Toolkit right now. So with that, I will hand it over to Brian to do a quick demo for us.
Do we have a challenge with Brian? It might be that Brian is not a presenter because I can't see him. Brian Levy, I can see him now as an attendee. Let me try to promote him as a presenter. Hopefully this works. That's my bad. I should have double checked.
No worries. Thank you.
Which role he is on. Trying to promote him, make a presenter. And Teams have this nice feature, unfortunately, don't quote me on this, that unless we can see, if you use search and find Brian, then I can promote. But if I don't see him in a list, I cannot promote him. This is horrible. I can still see him as an attendee. Hello, Mike.
I just got him for you. Should be changing his role.
Cool.
Well,
whatever reason, thank you, David. It wasn't listed on my attendee list. So.
Okay.
All right. We'll cut all of this away. Never happened. There's no proof after this call. So.
Movie magic.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I need to be able to share my screen too.
I was able to unmute you, but I think we now have the same problem. So I gave you the mute. Yes. Now I can see you. Excellent. The muting helps on getting you listed on here, and now can make you a presenter. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
There we go.
You can share.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And all of this will be cut, so don't worry about it. Take it away, Brian.
Okay. It's all part of the deal.
Yes.
Let me share my screen, and we can get right into this. So our SharePoint UI Kit is located on Microsoft's Figma community page. The link that was shared will take you right to right to the kit, and it's right here, and it has a description. First thing we'll do is we're going to like it. We can open up or open it right up in Figma, and Just takes a couple minutes to load up. And so if you're not familiar with Figma, once you open in Figma, it gets copied to your drafts. So it's your copy to work with, and you can open as many copies as you want for your needs. And we have it organized, as Nicole said, in a few sections. We've got getting started, change the look, templates and page elements, and web parts. In getting started, we have just some basic introduction information about what's in the kit. There's some guidance on just kind of the basics of getting started. The two main paths that we have for working is you can start from scratch, or you can use one of our templates. There's also some other helpful tips just for navigating around the Figma UI and using web parts and resizing things that you can always refer to if you have trouble with things not working as you expect. And then lastly, in getting started, we have a list of resources that you can refer to in order to, help you either learn more about Figma or learn about, we got accessibility information, theming, the fonts and icons that are used within the kit, and then also some learning links for creating sites, Figma tips, and that kind of stuff. So just a good place to refer to if you have any questions or need help with anything. We can always ping us in the SharePoint community or ping us on the community site with comments, which we could always reply to. Going back to the kit, there's a change log. That's not very information, but once we get into the change the look section, we have the ability to change the theme colors, and we have all of the colors for all of the out-of-the-box themes for SharePoint. And in this section, it instructs you kind of how you could generate your own theme designer and copy those and have your own custom themes, and then how to change the site styles. It comes out of the box with the teal theme, but you can always go and change those local colors, which are in the right-hand pane where you have the styles and whatnot, and you could edit those. In the future, we're hoping to work on something more automatic, in which you can just switch themes and it will apply to all the things, all of the elements in the pages automatically. But that's down the road a little bit. Logos are a place where you can either customize the logos throughout the kit. There's just different sizes for different applications. Any logos set globally can always be overridden on an instance by instance basis. And like all of our pages within the kit, there's guidance for how to use these components and some instructions for how to, change the logos or and that kind of stuff. We just ship with just placeholder logos to go with. And so then we could also navigate. We could also change the looks on the. Sorry, I'm trying to get more. Anyways, okay. We've got all of the headers. We've got site headers, the suite headers, both teams and communication sites. So we have all of the different layouts. We've got minimal, compact, standard, extended, and for both, and then the different sizes for the different viewport sizes down to mobile. The navigation, we cover both the horizontal navigation, hub navigation, and the vertical navigation for a team site. And all of these components are can be copied and pasted into your templates if you start from scratch, and then footer information if you want a standard footer or a extended footers. The real power in the kit comes from our templates. We supply some basic communication site templates as well as team site templates. And like everything else, we have guidance on which templates to use where, as far as we have sizing guidance. So if you want to use, we have large, medium, and small, desktop, tablet, and mobile. And then just some some instructions about how everything's created or built. And along with the templates, we have either blank templates or we have, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of running around here. We have some blank templates, as well as pre-filled out templates that you can change and move around. Let's see here. Blank templates. I haven't been on this. You have to excuse me. I haven't been on this kit for a couple of months, so I'm just trying to remember some things. Next to, hold on a second. Base templates. Okay. Oh, okay. So we can just copy and paste templates just straight from our site. And within those templates are all of the web part components that we can go in and we can edit those, which are the web part, where we get to the web parts. So we've shipped it with a good number of web parts, and each web part we have, for example, the hero. Everything has a set of documentation for how to use them. Every web part that we've shipped, we try and give you as much control and modification as possible. So you don't have to, you can easily move things around and change it. So for example, if we have a hero, we have the ability to change, the number of tiles, the different sizes for the different breakpoints. So it changes the sizes. So if you get to a really small one, it's just a carousel. For the large one, it's the big one with the things. Then for each of the components, we can change. We could change all the information. We can change the title text, which I don't know what just happened there. So that's a bug. But each one can also be configured to show a. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. But you could either change the text. I don't have the fonts. So anyways, I apologize for that. New machine. So everything has the ability to be configured, customized. You could change the images or the text. They could have background colors or no background colors. That's just the hero component. Let me go to one last part that we can show is, for example, if we have, every web part has examples at different sizes for all of the different permutations of column sizes. One column, right-hand column, half, 2/3, 1/3. So we try to make it easy to just go in and grab a web part and copy it. We can go back to our template, go into the section where it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to live, and we can just paste it in there. And again, I don't have the fonts, so it won't let me do it. But imagine that it did get pasted there. Yay! Yeah, right. So then we have the component within the page. We make it so it fits, and then we can show the headers. You can go into each of the individual pieces and edit the okay, something is not. There we go. All of the information on an individual basis. So it makes it really easy to move things around from size to size, and just makes it really quick to mock up your pages. Easy has the ability to take sections and move them around from one side to another, one place to another. Yeah, that's our kit. I know we kind of ran over time here, and I had a few technical bugs, so hopefully that wasn't too much of a distraction. So, yeah, Nicole sent the link in the meeting, and we hope it helps you with your projects.
Awesome. So we'll just end with a couple closing slides here. So I saw some chatter in the chat here, but just to answer some of these pieces, there is a subscription for Figma, but there are free plans. So feel free to refer to Figma's website for more information there. We do get questions around if we can export or convert the design. Right now, Figma does not build the pages in SharePoint. So once you do finalize that design in Figma, you would need to build it again in SharePoint. I know this isn't ideal, but it is a way for you to start mocking up information, especially if you don't have the permissions or privileges in your tenant itself. And there were some questions around why you should design in Figma versus SharePoint. Again, evaluate if this is the right solution for your team. It's a very useful tool for those that have a design background, familiarity with Figma, maybe they have a design team that they're working with. And this was a way to explore different options on your site without being limited by admin privileges or tenant restrictions, as well as avoiding exposing any organization data. So again, feel free to look at the tool, see if it's the right solution for you and go from there. And then we have resources. Again, we mentioned the AKA link for the Web UI Kit, so you can get directly to that in the Figma community. We also have a number of past tech community posts that talk about what is in each of those releases. So a little bit more elaboration beyond what you see in the changelog on the file itself. So I'll post those links in chat right after this. And then finally, if you are someone who has used the Web UI Kit in the past, or you are planning to use it, we would really love to hear your feedback. It's a short 5-minute form. If you're interested in talking with us more about your use of this UI Kit or others in your SharePoint experiences, we would love to hear that. So I will also post a link to that in chat, and feel free to send me any questions that you have. And with that, I will hand it back over to Vesa.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Great work, Nicole and Brian. Awesome stuff. And it is a brilliant set of predefined designs for the designers to take advantage as we're designing the portals with corporate communications and all of that. So awesome work on that one. And reusability, yes, there was some technical glitches, but the reusability and adjustments, I love the fact that you can flip the sections really easily within a Figma and see the reflect and how it changes the layout. So really, really cool stuff over there. Now, next Tuesday on 9th of April, we have Daniel Laskowicz talking about the Copilot Studio, this time creating a prompt plugin for Copilot Studio. So in the scale context of Copilot and Copilot Studio, still the new stuff. We got some you can send on direct file upload API support for SharePoint files through Microsoft Graph. So updates on that side as well. And then Waldeck Mastercard is going to talk about the latest on the Microsoft Dev Proxy, which is a great developer tool for everybody to take advantage. So that's on next Tuesday, 9th of April at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We do have our, in the meanwhile, we do have our Discord server, which is already at 1,920 members. So closing into 2,000 pretty soon. A lot of people are in here. This is not intended to replace any of the existing forums, but we wanted to test out that if the Discord is the right forum for engaging with the community. And a lot of people clearly are in Discord. So it was great to see the interest and people helping each other within this forum as well. We are always looking for feedback about this call, so do give us feedback. Feedback is important for us to be able to continue keeping these goals alive and show the value of what we can provide across the ecosystem with the goals as well. But this call, we went a bit long. We understand that that's always a bit of a challenge, always trying to hit that hour, but it's challenging. There's so much to talk about. If you needed to drop earlier, you're watching this as a recording, and that's okay. If you are still in the call and you want to go back in time to watch something in the call, the recording will be available within 24 hours in Microsoft 365 Power Platform community channel. We'll posting social media, all of that stuff when it's available. The next call is on April 9th, as mentioned, and all of the available community calls at AKMS-community/calls. But that's it for now. Have a great rest of the week. Let's stay in touch. Cheers. Bye-bye.